6 days. That is how long Mojtaba Khamenei, the man appointed supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, on March 8, 2026, has gone without making a single verified public appearance. No video, no audio recording, no live image. The only communication attributed to him was a written statement, read aloud by a news anchor on Iranian state television, placed beside a still photograph. In the vacuum that kind of silence creates, one rumor has spread faster than any other, that Mojtaba Khamenei is dead. Before we go 1 second further, I want to be absolutely direct with you. As of today, March 14, 2026, that claim is unverified. No credible international news organization has confirmed it. No government, not the United States, not Israel, not Iran, has officially declared it. Fact-checkers who have traced the rumor to its origins have found no evidence to support it. What we do have is something almost as remarkable. A nation of 87 million people at war, led by a man no one has seen, whose health is the world's most closely guarded secret, and whose regime is filling the silence with artificial intelligence-generated videos, rather than a real human being. That story, the verified, sourced, documented story, is what we are going to tell you right now. To understand the scale of what is happening, you need to understand what February 28, 2026 was. In the early hours of that morning, the United States and Israel launched what became known as Operation Epic Fury, a coordinated military campaign targeting Iran's nuclear infrastructure, its military command, and its top political leadership simultaneously. The operation struck targets across 24 Iranian provinces. According to figures released by Iran's own health ministry, the campaign killed at least 1,444 people and wounded more than 18,000 in its opening phase alone. Among those killed was Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader for nearly 4 decades, the man who had outlasted 8 U.S. presidents, survived multiple assassinature of the Islamic Republic, and shaped me and knifed and pallets and shaped mected to daft a and ideologic TD in kalbrigi kauk to kadout kanekedict with the lintab balk and galt kfal and wed on balladu on wickenik in kit icon and conwell on the wara like and the katik like wick kata like what gonna the I could attack the luck deck the sagak the galak al tatic hat I thought up the upper had look kata cook with up the wick the up wow us with that the Israeli military officials confirmed his death, and Iranian state media acknowledged it on March 1. After initial denial, the same strikes that killed the father also hit the compound where other family members were present. Mojtaba Khamenei, Ali's second son, a cleric who had spent decades operating in the shadows of his father's rule, was in that compound. His mother, wife, and other relatives died in the attack. He survived, but the nature and extent of his own injuries became, almost immediately, a state secret of the highest order. The IRGC, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the most powerful military and political institution in the country, pushed hard for a rapid succession. On March 8, just 8 days after Ali Khamenei's assassination, the Assembly of Experts convened and named Mojtaba as the Islamic Republic's third supreme leader. The process, according to Euronews, was wrapped in unprecedented secrecy. No deliberations were made public, and questions arose about whether of body were even still alive in a subsequent bombing, given that the Assembly's building in Qom had been destroyed in a subsequent bombing. For those who follow Iranian politics closely, Mojtaba was not a surprising choice. According to reporting by the New York Times, cited in Wikipedia's account of the assassination, he had long been considered the most likely successor. The Jerusalem Post, citing a source familiar with the matter, reported that despite being wounded, he was assessed as capable of carrying out his duties. The central problem that has driven everything that comes next, is that since the moment of his appointment, no one outside the innermost circle of the Iranian regime has seen him. Let's establish what Mojtaba Khamenei has not done since becoming supreme leader, because the list is extraordinary. He did not attend his own father's funeral. He was absent from the funerals of Iran's top military commanders, killed in the opening strikes. He did not appear on Friday, March 13, Al-Quds Day, the annual occasion when Iran's supreme leader traditionally makes a major public address. The country's most symbolically loaded political day of the year came and went without its highest official present. President Masoud Pezeshkian and senior official Ali Larijani attended in his place. He has held no press conferences, he has received no foreign dignitaries on camera. According to YN News, since his appointment, he has made 0 physical public appearances. The only direct communication attributed to him came on Thursday, March 12, when Iranian state television broadcast a lengthy statement read aloud by a news anchor beside a static photograph of Khamenei. Iran International, which covered the broadcast in detail, noted that nearly 2 weeks into the conflict, no video and no audio recording of the new leader himself had been released. The content of that statement was defiant: a vow to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed, a pledge of continued attacks on U.S. military bases in neighboring countries, and a promise to explore what he called other fronts where adversaries were vulnerable. The format of the message drew immediate attention. Alex Vatenka, a senior fellow at the Middle East Institute in Washington, told NBC News that Khamenei was essentially being hunted and had to take extreme measures to protect himself physically, which is one legitimate explanation for his invisibility. Suzanne Maloney, vice president at the Brookings Institution, told the same outlet that the longer he remained absent, the greater the concerns would become about the stability of the new leadership and the regime as a whole. Iranian state media made things worse, not better, by the language it chose, according to Euronews. State television referred to Mojtaba using the Farsi term janbaz, a designation reserved for Iran's disabled war veterans. That word choice, far from reassuring anyone, deepened speculation about the severity of his injuries. And then there is the AI problem. CNN reported on March 14th that because so little verified footage of Mojtaba exists, he spent decades deliberately out of public view. Government news outlets and state-backed social media accounts have resorted to circulating AI-generated videos of him delivering speeches that never happened, standing beside his father at fabricated moments, or embracing the slain General Qasem, or embracing the slain Sofal in the slain Qasem macing slanding a praising Kaying, and ganning and plaguing so women. In, with the wind sub to it and put with some bin with and they cooked it's with a suck and when I cook with the they got of the like that us with that I got what that's how I got the thought that was my dad was a resident of Tehran, quoted mockingly by CNN, compared him to an artificial intelligence creation rather than a real leader. When a regime fills the silence with invented imagery rather than a real human face, it is reasonable to ask what the regime is hiding. Now let's talk specifically about the death claim, because you, Dano, major outlet Reuters, Al Jazeera, CNN had reported the claim. The AI fact-checking tool Grok on the platform X assessed the claim as false, noting that Mojtaba had survived the initial strikes, been named supreme leader by the Assembly of Experts, and was reportedly directing Iran's military responses. A second, more persistent round of rumors arrived on March 13th and 14th, fueled partly by a report in the British tabloid The Sun, which, citing an anonymous Iranian source, alleged that Mojtaba was being treated at Sina in extremely serious condition with possible amputations and organ in extremely serious condition with possible amputations and or might be in a kosud popio and pocketien, my ponko koppen mimk. Kieman kink in my kiund pike conka pick in and bend to us in ink gonna and cook in a cook and cook with the cook like at the kata with pack a quart with a I would that we thought what up that wall up gosh I would like a ma the whack what we cook the top I said According to The Week, which covered the tabloid's claims, those allegations remain entirely unverified and come from a single, unnamed source with no way to corroborate the information independently. A second MIU fact-check published March 14th examined fresh social media claims asserting that Iran itself had confirmed his death. To know exactly where it originated and how reliable it is. The first major wave of rumors emerged almost immediately after Mojtaba's appointment. According to fact-checkers at MEAWW, claims began circulating on March 9th, just one day after his appointment, alleging he had been killed in an airstrike conducted by the United States and Israel the previous afternoon. These claims spread across X, formerly Twitter, and were amplified by accounts with large followings in the Iranian diaspora community. MEAWW's investigators found no credible reports or official statements from the U.S., Israel, or Iran announcing his death. Their investigators found the claim originated in a viral social media post. No Iranian official, state broadcaster, or credible news organization had made any such confirmation. It is worth understanding why these rumors take hold so easily. Abbas Amanat, professor of history emeritus at Yale University, told CBC News that rumors of Khamenei being in a coma in a Tehran hospital, or potentially dead, had been circulating among Iranian political insiders. He did not confirm them. He described them as rumors that were in active circulation. Nader Hashemi, associate professor of Middle East and Islamic politics at Georgetown University, told CBC that the longer Khamenei failed to appear on camera, the more such rumors would intensify and the more questions about Iran's leadership would mount. The vacuum, in other words, is not just a communications failure. It is actively generating the very crisis it was meant to prevent. Let's now do what responsible journalism requires. Lay out every significant report on Khamenei's condition, ranked by the credibility of its sourcing, starting with the most verified. A source with direct knowledge of the situation told CNN that Mojtaba suffered a fractured foot, bruising around his left eye, and minor lacerations to his face on the first day of the bombing campaign, the same strikes that killed his father and commanders. CNN treated this as its most solid piece of confirmed information. Supporting this picture, an unnamed Iranian official told Reuters on Wednesday, March 11, that Khamenei had been lightly injured but was continuing to operate. That official provided no details about the timing of the injury or any impact on his daily responsibilities. Also, largely in line with this assessment, Youssef Pezeshkian, the son of Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and a government advisor, wrote on Telegram that Mojtaba was injured but safe, based on contact with people close to the new leader. A step beyond these, but still carrying some official weight. Iran's ambassador to Cyprus, Alireza Salarian, told The Guardian that Mojtaba had been in the compound when his father was killed, that members of his family died in the same strike, and that the new supreme leader had sustained injuries to his legs and arms and was believed to be hospitalized. Salarian also indicated that Mojtaba had never been comfortable with public speaking in any situation, a comment that offered an alternative explanation for his absence. Israeli intelligence, according to the New York Times and cited by The National, arrived at a similar conclusion to Salarian's. Khamenei was believed to have suffered leg injuries. The Jerusalem Post, citing a source familiar with the matter, reported that Khamenei remained capable of carrying out his duties and managing state affairs despite his injuries. From the U.S. side, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told reporters at a Pentagon press briefing on Friday, March 13, that Khamenei was wounded and had likely suffered disfigurement. He characterized the written statement as weak and pointed to the absence of video and audio as evidence of something more serious. He did not provide supporting evidence for his assessment. President Donald Trump, in an interview on Fox News Radio, indicated he believed Mojtaba had probably survived but had been badly damaged in the process. Trump offered no intelligence sourcing for his view. And finally, in the least verified category, the Sun's claim of hospitalization in serious condition, potential amputations, organ rupture, and possible coma, sourced entirely to a single unnamed Iranian contact, with no corroboration from any other outlet. The honest picture that emerges: he is almost certainly alive and injured. The severity of those injuries, somewhere between a fractured foot and severe internal trauma, remains genuinely unknown. Here is the question that matters most. Geopolitically, regardless of whether Mojtaba is alive or dead, who is actually governing Iran at this moment? The answer, based on multiple analysts and sources, is that real power has effectively devolved to a small group of institutional actors. According to Euronews, growing concern about the ability to maintain regular communication with Mojtaba and a perceived slowdown in decision-making prompted discussions among parts of the political establishment and some clerics in .com about temporarily restoring a collective leadership structure. That proposal has reportedly faced strong resistance from the IRGC. The clearest sign of fractured command came at the weekend, when President Pezeshkian announced that Iranian forces had been ordered to halt attacks on neighboring countries unless Iran was first attacked. Drone and missile strikes on Gulf states continued uninterrupted every single day after that announcement. That gap between what the civilian president ordered and what the IRGC actually did tells you something fundamental about where the power currently sits. CNN's analysis, published March 14, concluded that the IRGC and Iran's political elite are most likely holding real authority, with Mojtaba serving primarily as a legitimizing figurehead. Historian Arash Azizi of Yale University told CNN that the regime would likely try to deploy Shia theological symbolism around Mojtaba's status, the wounded son of a martyred imam, as a source of political and religious legitimacy, whether or not he is personally directing operations estic crackdowns. NOPO has also reportedly been deployed around several Iranian prisons holding political detainees. following reports of prisoner protests ignited by the proximity of military strikes to detention facilities. Sanam Vakil of the Chatham House think tank in London told CNN that while the system may not currently need Mojtaba to physically appear, it would eventually need him too, because without visible authority, the political elite, not just the public, would begin to doubt the durability of the new leadership. Iran is, right now, a country at war abroad and under profound strain at home, governed by institutions whose loyalty to a wounded, invisible leader has not yet been tested. Let me give you the clearest possible breakdown of what we know and what we don't. As of March 14, 2026, confirmed by credible, sourced reporting, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was assassinated on February 28, 2026. In the opening strikes of Operation Epic Fury, confirmed by Iran, the US, and Israel. Mojtaba Khamenei was appointed supreme leader by the Assembly of Experts on March 8, 2026. He sustained injuries on the first day of the bombing, at minimum, a fractured foot, bruised eye, and facial lacerations per a CNN source. His legs were also believed to be injured. Per Israel's assessment and Iran's own ambassador, he has made 0 public appearances since his appointment. His only communication was a written statement read by a state TV anchor on March 12. No audio, no video, no live image. US Defense Secretary FHZ publicly assessed him as wounded and likely disfigured without presenting evidence. President Trump indicated he probably survived but was significantly damaged. Real decision-making power appears to have shifted toward the IRGC, and figures like Ali Larijani, unverified, claims that Mojtaba is in a coma at Sina University Hospital with amputated limbs and a ruptured organ. These come from a single anonymous source. Published by The Sun. No outlet has independently confirmed this. Social media claims that Iran has confirmed his death. Fact-checkers at MEAW found no such confirmation from any official source, government, or credible outlet. The original March 9 rumor that he was killed in a post-appointment airstrike on March 9, this was assessed as false by multiple fact-checkers. Mojtaba Khamenei is almost certainly alive. He is injured to a degree that has not been independently verified. He is being kept hidden, whether from physical incapacity, security necessity, or both, while the IRGC exercises operational control of a state at war. The death rumors are a product of that deliberate invisibility amplified by social media, opposition channels, and a regime that has responded to the vacuum by generating artificial images of its own leader, rather than producing a real one. Here is what this story is really about. It is not, at its heart, about whether one man is alive or dead. It is about a modern state, one of the most significant in the world, that is conducting a war, closing the Strait of Hormuz, and threatening regional escalation under the leadership of a figure who exists, for now, only on paper and in AI-generated images. Every single source we used in this video is linked in the description below. Read them, check them yourself. Verify them against other outlets. That is the only antidote to the kind of information environment that produces death rumors in the first place. The truth, as best we can determine it today, is that Mojtaba Khamenei is alive, wounded, hidden, and governing a country whose stability depends on everyone pretending otherwise. Whether that can last and what happens when it cannot, is the story we will keep following for you. If this breakdown was useful, subscribe and share it with someone who is trying to make sense of this conflict. I'll see you in the next one.